Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. We have a very large docket today, so let's get right to it. First, Lori Vallow's attorney is on the move. Second, the Grim Reaper case in New York City. Third, Miss Maxwell may be a Mrs. She's just not telling. Fourth, what is up with this whole mask thing? Fifth, body cam footage in the George Floyd matter may shed more light on the whole story. Sixth, a cop who is a hero. 7, Naya Rivera, no foul play. 8, arrest in the Breonna Taylor case, but it may not be who you suspect. 9, one nurse you don't want helping you. And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and thanks for watching. If you haven't already done so, I'd ask that you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that bell so that you receive notifications of when we put up new content or when we go live. First on the docket, Lori Vallow's attorney is on the move. Now, Mark Means, the attorney for Lori Vallow, we think he has an ethical conflict because he stated on the record that he represented a co-defendant related to Lori Vallow. That's right, Chad Daybell. Well, he's not on the move in that sense, but in the original case against Lori Vallow, which was the desertion charge, those were felony counts. The district attorney has dismissed those felony counts, and they amended and added nothing but misdemeanors. Therefore, Lori Vallow is not entitled to a preliminary hearing on those particular charges, and so Mr. Means has entered a plea of not guilty, made a demand for a pretrial conference, and requested a jury trial. First of all, that's very standard when it comes to a misdemeanor type case. You basically say, hey, enter my plea of not guilty kind of via paper, and let's set this matter for a jury trial. In this motion, however, Mr. Means, on behalf of Lori Vallow, raises what they call affirmative defenses. Now, for those of you who've been watching for a while, we've talked about affirmative defenses. Affirmative defenses are defenses to the charge where you're saying, I did it, but I was legally excused for that. And Mr. Means comes up with a couple of interesting affirmative defenses. First, he states that the court lacks any jurisdiction. That's interesting. If the court lacked jurisdiction, she wouldn't be in custody. Second, they're stating that the court lacks subject matters jurisdiction. Basically, the court has no ability to hear the matters before it. That's interesting. Third, improper service of process. That's interesting in a criminal case, but maybe he's going back to civil cases and stating something as it relates in a divorce, maybe. I'm not really sure where that one's coming from. Fourth, defendant did not knowingly violate any order. Fifth, an inability to comply. That's a little interesting. I'd love to know what that inability may have been. I couldn't produce the children because I knew they were dead? Interesting. Never heard of that one as well. In the affirmative defense 6, Mr. Means states, in regards to count 1 and 2 of the amended complaint, the solicitation and or resisting and or obstructing an officer is a lesser included offense of the other as they the same set of pertinent facts. I read that exactly the way he typed it. 7, defendant expressly reserves the right to assert additional defenses once the state has complied with discovery requests in these cases. And 8th, defendant in no way is waiving her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination by assertion of any and all affirmative defenses. Well, that's a mouthful. Now, like I said, it's not uncommon, usually once a trial date has been set, that you have to provide affirmative defenses, usually 35 days prior to a trial. And that's basically saying an affirmative defense is, I did it, but I'm excused for these particular reasons. Some of these very creative reasons that Mr. Means has come up with are things that I have never heard of in some of them. For example, items 1, 2, and 3, more of a civil nature, which brings me back to my point that Mr. Means is more of a civil attorney than a criminal defense attorney. The matter has now been set for a pretrial conference on July 17th of 2020 at 10:30 a.m. Now, these are usually pretty informal type proceedings. At pretrial conferences, you show up, you talk to the district attorney, you say, hey, is there an offer? No, there's no offer. Okay, thanks. Let's set it for trial. I can't imagine that the court will authorize this event to be televised, but you never know. I'm sure somebody will try to televise it and see that nothing has happened other than they will set some jury trial dates. But once again, reinforcing my opinion that Mr. Means is somewhat confused. Next on the docket, the Grim Reaper case out of New York City. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this sounds something out of a novel or a TV or movie script. This is crazy. Listen to these facts. The dismembered, headless body of a globe-trotting tech entrepreneur was discovered in his Manhattan apartment Tuesday afternoon. And now the police are searching for the person that sat in the lobby wearing a black hood and mask until the person wearing the black hood and mask that the police are describing as a Grim Reaper mask got onto the elevator with the victim and followed him to his apartment. The video is captured up until the doors close on the apartment. The victim is 33-year-old Fahim Saleh. Mr. Saleh is originally from Bangladesh, but has had several successful internet opportunities, become quite successful over the years. He was currently working on a bike sharing program in Colombia as well as in Africa. Now, listen to these facts, and if you get a little squeamish, you may want to turn the volume down just a little bit. And yes, I know, just like my last 8 videos or whatever it is, they will quickly be demonetized, but we're bringing this to you. As we stated, the man that sat in a lobby followed Mr. Saleh up to his apartment, which is captured on video. There's apparently a struggle at the door, and the video then gets cut off from the elevator. The sister of Mr. Saleh shows up the other day and finds quite a gruesome scene. What they found was a torso with no head, arms, or legs. Besides the dismembered body were a number of ominous items, namely large plastic bags construction contractors use for trash, and an electric saw still plugged in, according to police. The police described it as not a sloppy crime scene. The police suspect that the person using the electric saw inside may have been scared off when a relative tried to come to the apartment. Needless to say, this appears to be a professional hit job. It also seems to be as though somebody was trying to send not only a message to Mr. Saleh, but maybe his business associates. Once again, I've said this before, you can't make this stuff up. This is real life. This goes on in the world. It is not fiction. We will follow this because I would love to know who did this and who set this person to go do this to Mr. Saleh. This does not sound like some random act of violence. It was very targeted. They know who they were looking for, and it sounds like they knew what exactly they were going to do. Next on the docket, Miss Maxwell may be a Mrs., but she's not telling. That's right. As we discussed last night on our live, we've kind of explained the process as it relates to a detention hearing. And prior to the detention hearing, the court will receive a pretrial report that gives information to the judge specific to that particular defendant. What do they do for a living? How long have they resided in this particular location? Are they a flight risk? Is there a set of conditions or a combination of conditions that would allow the person to be released at liberty pending trial, or are there no conditions that would be available to the court to assure the defendant's appearance at court? Prior to that hearing, someone from pretrial services / probation, these people work for the judge, and they go and they interview the individual, and they provide information, and they provide a name of who can confirm this information. According to the United States Attorney, Allison Moe alleged during Maxwell's bail hearing that Maxwell is intentionally hiding how much money she has and not explaining why she hasn't listed any possible bond co-signers, and then claimed Maxwell won't identify a spouse to pretrial services. Further, she refuses to divulge her spouse's financial situation or assets. There's some significance to that, because if one wanted to get out of custody, particularly in a case like this, you're going to have to show that you are not going to be a flight risk, and you would want somebody to vouch or possibly co-sign on a bond or put up collateral so that they would assure the court that she would not flee the jurisdiction of the court. She refused to do so in this case, so perhaps Ms. Maxwell was somewhat resigned to the fact that she was not going anywhere, or she is continuing to hide and protect other people. As we stated yesterday, Ms. Maxwell's request for a bond was denied. She will remain in custody until her trial next July. And today is officially day 13 of the Ghislaine Maxwell Suicide Watch. The count will continue. Before we continue with the docket, let's take a quick recess. One of the themes that seems to develop throughout all of these cases that we talk about is the fact that you may not know exactly who you're dealing with. Well, in today's world, you need to do that. And if you don't do it yourself, you're only putting yourself at potential risk. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com and sign up for our background search subscription. There's a nominal fee, but once you pay that fee, you can type in a name. And while you are doing that, you will have a report prepared for the name that you typed in, and literally millions of public records will be searched, and a report will be generated as you wait. And in that one single report, you'll get information related to social media. It will include email addresses, phone numbers, criminal records, bankruptcies, civil court proceedings, property records, and marriage records. These are things that you want and need to know about people that you are going to do business with or be involved in an intimate relationship with. And if you don't do it, you're literally putting yourself at risk. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for your subscription today. You'll be satisfied and you'll be glad that you did. Next on the docket, what is up with this mask wearing thing? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will be the first one to say that I want dangerous liberty. I am skeptical of anything that the government tells me to do. All right? But guess what? These mask wearing requirements, whether you refuse to abide by them because the government says don't wear them, when you go into private businesses, you have to wear one, okay? And the signs are on the doors, ladies and gentlemen. It says you must wear a mask to be served here. That's not the government. That is the private business speaking. You have to wear the mask. Well, we have another mask situation that didn't end so well this particular time for the man refusing to wear the mask. According to police reports, a Michigan man named Sam Ernest Ruiz, he's 43. He walked into the Quality Inn in Windsor Township, located in Michigan. This is just outside of Lansing, about 100 miles west of Detroit. He walked in about 6:45 a.m. without wearing a mask. According to police reports, a 77-year-old man, a customer, asked Mr. Ruiz politely to cover his face, and the store refused service until Mr. Ruiz, in fact, put on a mask. Mr. Ruiz stabbed the 77-year-old man. Mr. Ruiz then fled in his vehicle, and the police quickly pulled Mr. Ruiz over based upon the reports that they had. Mr. Ruiz immediately exits his vehicle and walks towards the deputy with a knife in his hand to attack the deputy. The deputy attempted to increase the distance by backing up and subsequently shot and injured the suspect. The suspect was transported to a local hospital, but ultimately died during surgery. The video has been released, and clearly this is a situation where a man with a deadly weapon was approaching a police officer, and the officer was justified in shooting the suspect, Mr. Ruiz. It's clear from the video that the deputy opened fire as the man was within reach of the deputy. The officer's been placed on administrative leave, which is customary in any type of an officer-involved shooting. And we can say that the man that was stabbed at the store is apparently going to survive as well. Next on the docket, a police officer who is a hero. Our next story also comes from Michigan. Take a look at this video. This shows Officer Maciejeski. Now, I'm sure I pronounced this incorrectly, but you pronounce this one, ladies and gentlemen. Maciejeweski. I think that's a tough one, and I think I got pretty darn close. Officer Maciejeski, a 2-year veteran, arrived on a scene where a 3-month-old child was choking. The officer took action to expel the obstruction blocking the airway, all while the parents are watching in sheer terror. Not only did this officer save the baby's life, but the officer did an outstanding job consoling the family. So this Sterling Heights police officer, he is in fact a hero. Good job. Next on the docket, there have been some arrests related to the Breonna Taylor case, but it may not be who you think. For those of you who don't recall, Breonna Taylor lived in Louisville. The police raided her apartment on the belief that there were drugs being transported to her house and or stored there. Ultimately, the police entered with a no-knock warrant, killing Miss Taylor. And Miss Taylor's boyfriend, who fired back at the police, was charged originally with attempted murder on the police officers. Those charges were ultimately dismissed once it turned out basically that the police completely botched this information because the drugs and the person that they were looking for were not there at all. There's been a huge outcry that the police should be charged. One officer has been fired, but that was because of his sexual misdeeds while on duty with civilians. The other 2 have not been terminated yet. Well, the arrest came as scores of people went to the home of Daniel Cameron, the Kentucky Attorney General responsible for deciding whether or not to charge the police officers involved in the death of Breonna Taylor. All 87 people taken into custody were among a larger group of protesters who marched to Cameron's home in Louisville's East End around 4 p.m. As you can see from video shared from the scene, it shows people dressed in white t-shirts and linking arms outside the single-story home. Most of those arrested were charged with intimidating a participant in a legal process, a second-degree disorderly conduct, and third-degree criminal trespass. The protesters stated that they were there to hold Daniel Cameron accountable and make sure that he does his job because they don't think that he is in fact doing his job. Cameron issued a statement saying that he is issuing a thorough and fair investigation and that is being conducted. He stated that the goal of today's protest at his house was simply to escalate the entire situation, and he states that is not acceptable. He says that the demonstration only further serves to create division and tension within our community. Cameron continued that justice is not achieved by trespassing on private property, and it's not achieved through escalation. He states it's achieved by examining the facts in an impartial and unbiased manner, and he states that's what he's going to continue to do. Protesters were arrested when they refused to leave as directed by the police. Next on the docket, body cam footage in the George Floyd case. Could it show more of the story? I'm sure most people are familiar with the George Floyd matter, and therefore we will not rehash all of the facts. But as we stated the other day, the defense attorneys in this particular case have filed motions and footage of the body cams as well as the transcripts. The transcripts have in fact been released, but Thomas Lane filed with the court last week the body cam videos, and the court has authorized these videos to be reviewed, but only at the courthouse. They will not be released to the general public just as of yet. The defense attorneys for the officers that have been charged said they want all of the videos made public And they state that releasing information in piecemeal fashion has been catastrophic, leading to incomplete reporting by the media and unfairly portraying evidence in favor of the prosecution. The attorneys for the defense state that the footage will provide a more vivid picture of what happened the night George Floyd was arrested on suspicion of passing a fake $20 bill. The transcripts show that Floyd appears cooperative at times, but becoming agitated as he begged not to be put into the squad car, stating repeatedly that he was claustrophobic. The transcripts also detail Floyd thrashing around the back of the police car to the point where he injured himself. Attorneys also state that the footage will likely also show that Lane, Koenig, and Floyd did during the struggle rather than what merely was said. It's stated by the attorneys that it'll pick up on nonverbal cues that are not captured in the transcript, such as laboring breath tone of voice and physical reactions. The video will also show what Chauvin was saying and doing and how much Lane and Koenig saw. The attorneys believe that release of the videos will dispel discrepancies in the two transcripts, as there's been questions about their accuracy. We'll continue to follow that one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick recess, but I'm telling you, it is a dangerous world out there. If you don't know who you are dealing with, it can be very scary. And sometimes you're going to have to deal with people that you never intended to have to deal with. If you want to be able to diffuse that situation, there's one perfect way to do that. If you feel uncomfortable or someone is attacking you, the best way to make that person go away is drawing attention to your situation. The best way to do that is the safety siren. Look at this thing. It's small enough to put on a purse, put in your pocket, attach to a backpack. Keep it with you in the car. Take it anywhere you go. And you simply pull the pin. A very loud, ear-piercing 100 decibel alarm goes off. You think that's going to get people's attention? Of course it will. And what do bad guys not want? That's right, attention. That's why you need a safety siren for your purse, your pocket, your backpack, your car. Anywhere you go or your children go, get the safety siren. Go to CrimeTalkOffers.com and get your safety siren. You'll be glad you did. Next on the docket, a nurse that you don't want taking care of you. That's right, a former Veteran Affairs nursing assistant has pled guilty in federal court to killing 7 hospital patients by injecting them with unnecessary insulin and assaulting another patient with the intent to commit murder. Retta Mays, 46, has now pled guilty to 7 counts of second-degree murder and 1 account of assault with intent to commit murder after a 2-year investigation into the suspicious deaths of elderly patients at a veterans hospital in West Virginia. It is alleged that Mays administered unnecessary insulin to patients who were not diabetic with the intent to kill them. The patients all died of low blood sugar and severe hypoglycemia after being injected with unneeded insulin between July of 2017 and June of 2018. The victims, all male, were between the ages of 82 and 96. Mays had not been identified by authorities publicly until today. The United States attorneys are still unclear as to Mays' motive. However, they hope that more information will come out between now and sentencing. Our dumb criminal contestant of the day is Donika Shanice Mays, 29. She is alleged to have battered her boyfriend in a confrontation after she slashed his tires, apparently for some unknown reason to the police. But apparently he was grabbed with such force that she removed skin from the entirety of his right testicle. Ouch. According to the arrest affidavit, Mays and the victim had been arguing all morning before matters turned criminal. Mays and the man have been in a relationship for 4 years and have a 2-year-old child together. The victim told police that he discovered that his vehicle's tires had been slashed, adding that Mays admitted to the vandalism. While waiting for a tow truck to arrive, the affidavit reported Mays resumed arguing with her boyfriend and began striking the victim with open hands as he continually backed away. At one point, Mays allegedly grabbed the clothed victim's private parts. She did so with such force that it removed the skin from the entirety of the victim's right testicle. When the police asked about the dispute, May replied that she had grabbed the victim's testicle and he had been in a physical altercation with him. Mays was arrested, obviously, and booked into the county jail, where she is being held on a $7,600 bond. She's been booked on a count of battery, and she has also been booked for providing a fake name to the police officers. If she is released on bond, she cannot have any contact with the victim in any way. To make matters worse for Miss Mays, she is on probation related to a prior battery case in a neighboring county. In that particular case, Mays was convicted of attacking a different man, according to court records. So once again, our dumb criminal contestant of the day is a high repetition learner. Apparently, even now, after being on probation and probably taking some domestic violence classes to control the temper, Miss Mays simply does not get it. And for that, Miss Mays, you are our dumb criminal contestant of the week. Now, you all don't have to become a dumb criminal contestant to get the potential mug if you're the dumb criminal contestant of the week. That's right. You simply go to the link below on Teespring and you can order a mug. And there's some cool new stuff there. Shirts and face masks. I can't wait to show you the face masks. I received an email today stating my order has shipped. So hopefully we'll have it later this week. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Crime Talk.